Hey guys, so now we've moved on probably the most complex version of a mortise and tenon that I ever use, and probably the most complex joint drawing that you might ever do as well. So it's got quite a few different parts in terms of how it's shaped and things like that. So you can see it there. Obviously you can grab a screen grab of that if you want to work from that actual drawing. But let's get into it. So now we're going to go new, standard millimeters IPT, and create. Like usual as well, I would start off with the easiest part and use the wedge. But we're actually going to start off first with the mortise, just like we would normally when we're making this. And then you make the wedges to fit the mortise and tenon after. So rectangle, making our stock material again, which is going to be 70 by 19. And let's extrude that to our 250. Alright, so now we've got that all set up. We are literally just cutting a hole through this to fit our tenon through. So rectangle, and we've done this process last video as well. Tab, except this one, yeah, 70. Okay, and then use the offset feature. 5. Right click, OK. So now we can cut this section through our piece. 3D model, extrude. Click on that one there and go cut and go OK. Now let's set our material because we're going to continuing to use radiata pine. And set that as material. Save. And now we're going to save it in the appropriate folder. So now we can save this mortise. Alright, now let's move on to our a bit more confusing tenon. So going new up in the top left, standard millimeters, create. Let's start. We're always starting again though with our stock material. So 70 by 19. 70 tab 19. Enter. Right click. OK. Let's extrude this to its size. You might notice as well that I normally work everything out first with it in the grey material before setting its material. That's because I find everything a bit easier to see on this like that. So that's why I do that. Now we're going to cut this out from the end. So creating the same offset kind of format that we did previously. So that way we can do our 5mm edges. But this time we're going to cut out that ring around the edge as opposed to the center part. Now you can see there it actually does get a little bit confused. If you're zoomed out a long way, it can. It's not going to do it for me now. See how it highlights the whole section? Whereas if you zoom in, you can be a lot more careful with selecting only that one. Now just double checking my drawing here. This one's 70 because it's going all the way through as opposed to the other one. You can see that we've cut that out. Now we need to cut out some cool shapes on our face here. And there'll be a bit of an explanation as to why we do certain things with this as well. So now what we're going to be doing is cutting out our different slots for our wedges to go into to lock our piece into place. Just running off of these. So if we wanted to do a if we align here and go OK, and we're going to set that to 46 from the end. Okay, and then what we're going to be doing is creating our, so we're going to figure out, so this is 60mm across, so trying to figure out our different sizes here. So what we're going to be doing is, what's that, 15 across there. I actually found out now that I've missed a measurement on that drawing. I should be telling people how far in those cutouts for the wedges go. But if we're assuming that, so if I go from the middle here, okay, and that is 30. Alright, so we know that's 30, so in the middle of that's going to be 15. So if I then create a line here, and a line here. Dimension these to 15. Oh, what did I just press on? 15. So that way we know we have kind of split that up nicely into different thirds. And then the last thing we were doing was creating our wedges like this. And you'll see what I'm doing after as well. You can see that's not very accurate and they're very different. So if I dimension these from there to there, 7.5, there to there, 7.5. Alright, and then you can see here that we're making a nice uniform wedge shape. Okay, so now we don't actually need this anymore, we don't need that anymore, we actually don't need that anymore. L for line, and I'm going to do a quick connector line from there to there, and there to there. Okay, so now what we could do, we could cut these out and then draw the circles in afterwards that are going to be down the bottom, but I'm actually going to do that now. 9.5, oh no, sorry, this is not a dowel, this is a 5mm hole that we're putting in. 5, alright. This could be, that hole could be different sizes. I'm using 5 because that's my most dominant drill bit size that I have, and haven't all been stolen. So now using the trim tool, we can trim these up, just like that. Trim, trim, trim. And we've got our shapes in. Delete some of these lines that we don't need. 3D model, extrude, and let's cut these out. Those shapes in. Now those holes that we're drilling at the end there, that's so that when we cut our shape like that and then actually put our wedges in, it's not going to split our material, it's actually going to disperse away a little bit, and so it'll allow these sections to push out to the sides of the mortise without splitting this all the way down. So now if I go to tools, materials, since that's all done, we can actually set that as radiata pine. Exit and save, and we can save this as Tennon. Alright, so now we've worked our way all the way through that. That looks pretty good. Now moving on to the final bit, and probably also the easiest bit, is the wedge. Create that. Like in real life as well, you'd be making this last because you want it to fit nicely into your, well, actually you want to make it a little bit big. For this example, we're obviously making it fit perfect because we can on this. In real life, though, you're making it a bit big so you can knock it in and then cut it off flush. So now if I make a triangle, beautiful triangle, as you can see, and now we can dimension this. So what's that going to be? That's going to be 15, and it's going to be 23. Alright, cool. I wonder if it'll let me, what I might do, delete that. It's not going to let me do it. Alright, let's start that again and not do it so blasé. Line, over here we go 15. So, now the way to get a perfect equilateral triangle is to start from the middle. I'm not confident that stayed green for long enough. Green, go there, want this to be 23, and then we can join this up just like that. So we've got that perfect kind of triangle set there. We can delete that line in the middle, 3D model, extrude, and we need to extrude this. What size is it going to be? It's going to be the width of the mortise. So it's going to be 9. So it's actually going to be quite small. And okay. Now I'd actually traditionally make this out of a hardwood that's quite a different color material so you can see them, and it kind of adds a bit of a feature to whatever piece of furniture you're making. So if I type in Jarrah, we can assign that It's a very, very reddy coloured jarrow that's on there. So now saving this and saving that in there. Alright, so now we can create our creating our assembly, standard millimeters IAM, create. Like I've said previously, or multiple times as well, starting with our mortise, and we'll set that in place before we start adding all the other parts to it. So opening that, left clicking so it gets placed, and then it rotates like that by itself. Over here, same with our origins that we're going to use like last time, we're going to constrain that to there, and we're going to constrain that plane to there, and go OK. So now we've got that locked in place, let's add in our tenon. Place, we've got our tenon, open. We need to rotate this a couple times. We're going to rotate this on its y-axis, and then we're going to rotate it on its z-axis a couple times to get it the right way around. Need to zoom out and back in a little bit, get it right like that. Okay, so you can see there, that actually looks quite good. Now we can start doing some of our constraints. So first things first, what I'm actually going to do is constrain, I'm going to flush, sorry, the top of this with the top of that, go apply, and we'll flush it out with that, apply, and then the last thing we're going to do is actually mate that edge with that edge and go OK. So now we've got that all set up. Now we just need to put our wedges into their parts there. So place, wedge, open. Need to rotate this again a couple different ways. Or maybe not. There we go. 1, 2, right click, OK. Alright, same thing. We're going to start off by flushing these. Flushing that with that. Where did that go? Apply. Flushing. We've done the end there. We could actually then, why don't we try constraining that and that. And apply. So there's actually only 2 that were needed on that one, and same with this one here. So flush the ends, apply, mate that one and that one, apply, and we can mate that as well. Could also definitely do that and go OK. So now they're mated in, locked in, can't move. So we've got that all set up. And we can save that. Assembly 1 in our wedges folder, save. Alright, let's create our presentation view. Oh, where am I going? So new, down the bottom, create, open this. Alright, cool. So first things we're going to start off with, just like if we were in real life as well. So clicking on that, and then carefully clicking on that one as well. And then I'm going to zoom in, it's getting too hard. Right click, tweak, and we're going to drag these out. We're going to drag those out 70, and then go OK. And we'll look at this straight on, and let's drag this one out, tweak component. You're going to move for me, buddy? There we go. So we'll drag this one out, -90. Okay, so you can see there we've got our presentation view of how this goes together. Now save, and I'm going to save this as presentation, and save that. So we've got that presentation saved as well. Now finally making our drawing of this piece, and now having picked up on the last drawing that I made a mistake forgetting a couple of the measurements, I can rectify that now. So if I go base, and just like previously, adding in our drawing like this, and go OK. Oh, I forgot again. So that's 3 videos in a row that I forgot to make that coloured. Base. Let's add in our normal assembly. That way you can see clearly how it all goes together. Base, and let's start adding in our mortise. Rotate that around. There we go. 2. Adding that there. Okay. Now let's add in our tenon. Whoops, too far. Go back that way, and adding this one in. Changing this to half scale. getting them nicely lined up. I'm giving myself a bit of room around these so that I can fit plenty of measurements in, and then go OK. And then last one, adding in our wedge. Okay, so we've got all of those added in. Now we can add in our center lines. So annotate. First we'll do our circles. Did I click on that? I did. Is it gonna let me? Yes, it is. Awesome. We can add our center line in here as well. Create that. Create that. Create that. Got our center lines. You'll notice as well how you can know it's a center line because it's got little dash, big dash, as opposed to if it's showing just a hidden line, it's got a consistent dashed line there. So that's how you know that as well. So now let's add in some of our dimensions. So for this one and the other one, adding in our total size. 250, you're gonna lock in for me, there we go. Alright, and then adding in our size there. Adding in our size here. And then adding in our overall width up there. Alright, we can also add in that there. Alright, I think that is fully dimensioned for what we need for that part. Now we need to get to the tricky part of dimensioning this one. So R2.5 is radius, so that's saying it's radius because it's not a completed circle. I don't think you can actually get the dimension for the diameter of it. That's okay, so we'll add this 15 in here. Gonna add in how far down we go there. Okay. One of the things we could change for this is delete. Sorry, I'm going to delete that and add that in up here. It's still not interfering with any of my other measurements, whereas down here it might. I might add in from there to there. Okay, so we've still got a gap there, so that's still pliable. There we go, and we'll add that to there. Alright, cool. So now we've rectified the issue we had before of not having that dictated there. Let's make sure we add in our total size. Okay. Adding in our width of our tenon there that's going to go into it. And let's also have a go at making sure we've got that put down as well. Okay, so I think we are all good and I haven't missed any of the measurements that I need on that one. So now we can move down and quickly do the easiest one, which is the wedge. Whoa, okay, dimension. Still need to do it, that one to there. 23, okay. Okay. And the width there is 9. And some students find it quite strange. They struggle to understand that like that's 9, but that's also 9. So it's important that they do read these drawings very carefully. And I'm just going to leave that 7.5 there, although you can work that out from that. Now finally what we'll do is put in a bit of text here. So calling this Mortise and Tennon. With wedges, so we'll leave that like that. Let's make that, I think about 15 on the other ones, so we'll apply that. Okay, last thing, like I forgot, I think on the dowel one, we're going to make that centered, make it in the middle too. Okay, cool, and I'm happy with that and how that's put in there. So now let's quickly put in the eye properties for this one, and we're going to add in title, skills, task, subject. that what I added for the other ones? I cannot remember. So we'll add subject is furniture, construction, author's me, manager's me, cool, and then putting in the company, which is the school. Copying that over, putting in as the vendor as well as the cost center. And then if I get my name again, putting that in authority, engineer, designer, project as opposed to description. So the project is the, what is, and Tennon joint, revision number 1. Oh, hang on, that's actually not right, because that's the description. The project is skills task. And then we're just on 1 for that as well. Cool. Let's get my name, status, release. We've already got kids making this. Okay, cool. So we've got all that filled out. So now we can save that. Cool, got that sorted. Alright, save that. Okay, so that's making sure that you know it's with all the dependents there. And then finally, like we've done with the previous ones, we're going to export this PDF just like that. Alright, cool. Hopefully you've learned a lot. This is a lot more complicated than, say, the one with the locking dowel, and it's also a bit more complicated than the other one as well. Just working out this tenon in here, and then having that all go together is a little bit complex, but obviously not too hard. Hopefully this is something you try both on this as well as in real life. But yeah, hopefully you've had fun doing it, and I will see you in the next video.